Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sada Shiva Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om and welcome back. These invocations are a beautiful way of starting, especially a study like ours. But these are also beautiful invocations to start off your day with. In a very brief manner, if I may just take you through what we have said. In the beginning, we bowed, or rather, we remembered the three most important, you can say God, goddesses, deities, or you can say the powers, energies, which enable knowledge. The first being Ganapati, the one in the center, meaning the giver of all talents, guna, everything that is auspicious. Immediately next we took the name of the mother of knowledge herself, Saraswati. You are the representation of Ma Lakshmi and Ma Saraswati together. And the third, the Guru, the master, who literally puts those words in front of us, who guides us, who teaches us onto the path of knowledge. So these are the three which we remember early in the morning or before education. It's so wonderful to start your day or your education with remembrance of those who are helping you to move ahead in your life. Speaking of the master who actually guides us, let me give you a small incident that had happened with my master, Swami Chinmaya. We lovingly call him Gurudev. This was sometime in the 1980s back in India, where a lady interviewer, a journalist, was taking an interview of Gurudev, and she was rather slightly critical about Hinduism, and she was trying to show Hinduism in a poor light vis-a-vis other religion. So what she said, or she started with is, Swamiji, let me ask you a few questions. Swamiji said, well, you're a journalist, it's your prerogative to ask, so go ahead. She straight away asked, who is the founder of Islam? And before Swamiji could say anything, she herself said it. Muhammad. Swamiji said, yeah. Who's the founder of Christianity? And she said, Jesus. And if I ask you, thinking that she will fox Swamiji Gurudev, who is the founder of Hinduism? No one. That is because she says Hinduism is not a religion altogether. Swamiji shook his head and he said, you are correct. What you said is correct. Hinduism is not a religion. As a matter of fact, Gurudev said, Hinduism is a science. And then he said to her, now I ask you a few questions, you answer. He said, who is the founder of science? And before she could answer, he himself said, no one. Who is the founder of biology? Before she could say anything, he said, a group of intelligent men over hundreds of years who came together about that subject and they contributed. Chemistry, a group of people who came together, understood and contributed. Physics, same way. In the same way, Hinduism is not a religion, it is a science. Because for thousands of years, rishis, whom we call the seer scientists, they came together and they put their knowledge into fact. And that what came out of their experience and knowledge, their wisdom, is called Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan, eternal. And the word dharma can be interpreted in a lot of ways, but in this context, dharma means a way of life. The same truth, how you put it, makes a lot of difference, because the same truth spoken in different places depending on the understanding of the listener makes all the difference. We spoke about a truth in the last session, and the truth is that the world is impermanent. So, we will continue from that point on. When we say world, what do you mean by world? One would think, world, the far away Mars, Jupiter, and the stars and far away places. They might be temporary or impermanent. But no. Let us closely look what does the world. Here comes the first term, for which I request you must have a pen and paper so that you note down these terms, so that in future, when these terms are again used, your mind goes directly to the needed or required or indicated meaning. The term is Jagata, world. In Vedanta, when we use the word Jagata or the world, what it means? It means which starts from you to everything that you know, everyone that is in your relation, every aspect of those things that can be seen, that can be heard, that can be felt, that can be smelled. Everything, meaning all those which come into the perception of a person. Perception means when I see something, I can see it with my eyes. I'm perceiving it. But I can't see air. But when air moves, cool breeze comes to my skin. I can feel it. Perception. You can hear things. Perception. So perception means the 5 sense organs that we have. When we perceive information, knowledge from the world outside, anything from outside, that is what is called perception. So, everything that comes to your perception is impermanent. Everything. Yes, everything. Every single thing. Everything. You mean to say my parents are impermanent? Yes, it is impermanent. Oh, my relationships are impermanent. Yes, they are impermanent. But don't you think that in Hinduism, when you get married to a man, when you get married to a woman, when a man and woman get married, they say, you are bound for 7 lives together. Yes, we say that. 7 lives, not lives after that. 7 life is a very long period of time. It is a long period of time, but it has a starting point and an end point. And this is where we come to know we must get this question in us, that what makes this distinction, that what comes to our perception, everything that comes to our perception is temporary. This query should come. Remember in the beginning, yes, last session, we had said, how will this study go ahead? What is the methodology to go ahead? The methodology is the Shastra, the scriptures, or the master, they make a statement. When that statement is made, you understand it because it's language. It's been spoken in a language which we all understand. But that should create a thought in your mind. And you should be able to get those thoughts clarified in your mind perfectly. If there are some questions, some queries, they should be asked. You should rise and then you should write it down. So at this point in time, when the Shastra says that the world is impermanent, a question should come in your bosom. How would you say that? How does Shastra say? What are the reasons behind the Shastra says? I'm sure you may have got this feeling in you. Let me help you with that. There are a number of reasons why Shastra says that the world is temporary. And now we know the world does not mean only the planets. It means everything that comes into our perception. We are clear on this. The first thing Shastra says is, everything that can be seen, which comes into your perception, is matter. Matter is gross. Gross, it is tangible. Everything that is gross is made up of parts. Everything that is made of parts can be destroyed by just removing the parts away. Think of any object that you know. It has parts. Anything which is come together because of parts, if the parts are removed, what happens? It disintegrates. When it disintegrates, that particular thing is no more. It has changed to something else, yes, but that particular thing is no more. This is one of the reasons Shastra gives, that everything in this world is come together with the parts. No, but you need to explain to me a little more. What do you mean the world? Earth is one piece. It's a one strong piece. How is it in parts? This understanding will come as we go ahead, that how earth is built. There are 5 different elements that have come together, and it is not just the earth that we are living in that makes earth, but there is space on which earth is floating. Without space, earth cannot be. Therefore, when you remove these things separately, that thing ceases to be. Second argument that Shastra says is, everything that is an effect. And science says, if there is an effect, there ought to be a cause. Because we see effects. If there is an effect, cause has to be there. There is nothing which is causeless. Think about it. Milk. Milk is an effect of what? It's coming from the cows. Then we think of cream. Cream is an effect of churning the milk. In India, we go further and we churn the cream and something else comes out. It is called ghee or butter, clarified ghee. So you see, there is the effects and there are causes. But what happens when you take away the cause from the effect? When you take away the cause from the effect, what will happen? You have a gold chain. From the gold chain, if we remove the entire gold, what remains behind? No chain. Because the chain is made up of gold. If the gold, which is the cause, removed from the effect, which is the chain ceases to be. In the same way, this world that we see and perceive as if today, what is the cause of this? Vedanta is to be known. Our next question. The first question of this session. Why should we learn Vedanta? Vedanta should not be learned to know that the world is temporary. You should know because Vedanta indicates to us the permanent factor because of which this temporary world is in existence. Meaning, the world here becomes the effect. But Vedanta points us out to the cause. Did we get our answer to the first question of the day? Vedanta. Why should we learn Vedanta? That is why we should learn Vedanta. Not for the gross, but for the subtlest of the subtle. The cause of all the effects. The cause which is causeless. We come now to the next question. Who should study Vedanta? There are criterias. Vedanta. Kindly note down now the one of the terms. Vedanta is going to be said. Veda means knowledge. We all have heard the word Vedas, which is said in English Veda. It is Veda. It's pronounced in Sanskrit as Veda. Anta, that literally means end, culmination, epitome. Ved Anta, meaning the epitome, the culmination, the final statements of Veda, the knowledge. The knowledge of Veda's culmination is called Vedanta. Vedanta is the end of Vedas. How can anybody come and start learning the end of a particular science without learning the beginning of it? Not always it was like this. In the old days, before somebody came to study Vedanta, they had to go through the Vedas, the Veda Purva Bhag. They had to go through something called as Puranas. In other words, Puranas means ancient, in a way, stories with which you come to know a lot more. The surrounding information, the base information upon which you can study Vedanta. With which your mind is in a ready position to accept, to receive the knowledge of Vedanta. But in today's time, seldom it happens like that. In fact, it so happens, I'm sure many of you have read some or the other book on Vedanta. isn't it? For example, Hana's husband was speaking to me yesterday, Cloud, and he said, when I asked him, how would you be interested in this topic? To all my pleasant surprise, he used the word, the name, that Maharishi, I've heard of Maharishi. I said, what? This is amazing. When Maharishi Ramana speaks of Vedanta, he speaks the highest Vedanta, the Nirguna Brahma, Advaita Brahma, that non-dual truth he speaks only. You see, so he has not studied the Vedas, but he has heard through somebody about Maharishi. So today's world, what happens is, we gather some information about Vedanta, and then a feeling comes into us that, maybe I should study this. So I come and join a study group like us. Or some people go to books and they read further. Or some people literally join ashrams back in India to study it in detail. But this was not always the case. There are few preliminary requirements for the student who wants to study this knowledge of Vedanta. Our future studies of these sessions are going to be inquiring about these requirements. But the one very important requirement for this study is, a term is going to be said, Viveka. Viveka means the faculty with which you choose between things, the discriminative faculty, the faculty of your mind, the intellect, whereby you choose, I don't feel like being friends with this person. Oh, I think I like that chair very much. Oh, today I am very tired, let me rest. Oh, I am feeling extremely energetic, I am going to go and do these exercises. That faculty which makes you choose between two is called Viveka. Do we have Viveka? Does everyone over here sitting has this faculty? Of course we have. Why? Because we use this faculty in every single day of life. Every walk of our life is dependent on this faculty. Think about it. You've got food served in front of you. What do you choose first is also using this same faculty. But there is a slight difference now when Vedanta Shastra asks you whether you have Viveka, that faculty which discriminates. What is the difference? Please pay attention. When you are using your Viveka to distinguish between two things, all the things that you have been distinguishing till date today has been between one impermanent and the other impermanent. How? Why? Because you've been choosing subjects and topics and things and beings and names only from the world. Everything in the world is nothing but impermanent. So you are choosing between two impermanents, which was easy because they were tangible, they were perceivable, they were coming into the gamut of your five senses. But for the first time, something you have to choose between the impermanent, which is in your perception. One more term, pratyaksha. I'll repeat, pratyaksha, 'Pratyaksh', 'Pratyaksh', 'Direct'. 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 ' direct knowledge, something which is in direct knowledge. You can smell it, taste it, touch it, feel it. And something which is anumana, which is indicative. Shastra, the text, the scripture is indicating to you that there is something which is permanent, which you and me cannot right now with our five senses perceive it. There is a huge difference. And this second aspect of perception, of understanding, of knowing through an indicated means, medium, will only come to you, to us, to the student who wishes to learn Vedanta, is when he gets to know something called as Shraddha. Shraddha meaning faith. Oh, now I understand. You want us to have blind faith. No, there is no such thing as blind faith. Yes, you believe something in the morning, and by the evening your beliefs have changed. You could change. Something that you have been believing for years altogether, one good fine day, suddenly you feel, oh my God, I was so mistaken. And it changes. Beliefs keep changing morning to evening, from day to night, from 1 year to another, for decades, and it can keep changing. But faith is something which does not change, because faith is not blind. Faith is always with a willingness to test. Remember, in the first day we said there are some terminology which we have misunderstood. Shraddha, faith, is grossly misunderstood. Or why I should say that? Let me say it in this way. That what Shastra is explaining or trying to make us understand what faith, the word faith, or in Sanskrit Shraddha, means is this. That right now you cannot have any conception of it by your all five senses. But because you know that there is something in it which gives me an inclination to understand it. So let me invest my time, let me put my mind, let me give all my focus to it so that I understand it. And that is called Shraddha. That is called Shraddha. The importance of this study is in relation to why should we study? Sambandha, relationship. The last question. What is the importance of this study? So what is Vedanta going to show us? That truth, that permanent. And what is this study? It is important. What is the importance of this study? This is that study which is going to show us the truth. It is that important a relationship. So the next time when it is Saturday morning and you say, oh, it is Saturday morning, I've got some important work to do. Instantly your intellect, viveka, should tell you, oh, but whatever that you are going to do otherwise is about one impermanent and other impermanent. Don't you think we should know about the permanent? And this half an hour is about that? That should come into your intellect. Your mind should be guided to this session on every Saturday by your intellect. When that happens, the third and the most important thing about who should learn Why should you learn? Who should study Vedanta comes? A person who has that inkling, a word coming again your way, mumukshu. Let me say it again. Mumukshu. A person who has a burning desire in him to know the truth. This is why we should study Vedanta. So that we know the truth. What is the importance of this study? This is that study which will take us to the truth. Rather indicate. And third, what are the three aspects I spoke about a student who should study this or who should know this? He should have these three qualities. One, he should have viveka, discriminative, not between the impermanents, but between the impermanent and permanent. Second, that he should have this Shraddha, faith, that I am following this. Why? Because the person sitting in front is not there to bluff me. The Shastras, the scriptures, thousands of years, thousands of rishis have given their lives to get this knowledge to us. They didn't have any ulterior motive. The faith, Shraddha, on the person who's teaching, on the knowledge as well as on the masters. Finally, the third aspect, that you should have a burning desire to know the permanent. In this way, today's session's three most important questions, why, who, and what, have been put it in front of us. I will always say at the end of the session that how much ever you think you have understood, understand this. This is just a knowledge which has touched your mind and gone away. After half an hour with the coffee in your hand, you will not remember anything that has been told. Therefore, you need to revisit the videos. And this is the reason why we take so much of effort in editing the videos and then putting those subtitles, and we put it up on the website or on YouTube so that you revisit it in the day, in the week, so that next time when we meet, you are refreshed with the knowledge. Before I leave you today, I will read something which today's calendar says. The world, even if you hold on to it, it will slip. And God, even if you want to leave Him, will not abandon you. With these few words, I take a Madhya Viram today. We take a short break till the next week. But next week will be our actual third session. So after the first 20 minutes, we are going to open up the discussion or talk. So kindly make it sure that you have your questions ready, your queries ready. If you don't have any queries, that's fine. But I am sure a thinking student, a student who is a mumukshu, who has this burning desire to know the truth, will have questions. Shall we take a break today? Kindly join me for this beautiful invocation. We cannot thank enough all our gurus and our parents for giving us this life. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om to one and all. We meet each other in the next week.